All right, welcome back. The Podcast Boys, episode 125. We're here with Gabriel. All right, so we got a guest, Gabriel, and it's gonna be a banger episode. I love Gabriel, bro. I can just picture him as a great guest, dude. This guy's so positive, bro. Everybody loves Gabriel. So, yeah, I mean, why is that? Why do you think everyone loves you? Is it because of the positivity?
Well, I'm very handsome, number one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So what happened with you raising up 12-year-olds? How did that go?
Oh, right. Okay. So it was first off started as a dare. I was with the friends, and we were daring to ask girls out, because what else are you gonna do in a mall?
Yeah, what else?
There's only one
Shop?
thing to do. Yeah, you don't shop except Dollarama. It's
Oh, yeah,
a really
yeah.
good deal. You
Yeah.
can buy olives for $1.25.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I was the brave guy. So my friend was asking girls out. They all rejected him, and I asked
You asked like a 20-year-old.
yeah, I did. I think she was 24 actually, or something like that, because she never replied to me. And so it was this bet, and they were at the table, and they're like, yo, dude, you should definitely ask, you see those two girls in that table behind us? And they were like, oh, you should definitely ask one of them out. And I'm like, okay, well, they're old guys, they're not my age. And also
Even better.
Even better, yeah. And then I went up to them, and I didn't know which one to speak to, so I guess I spoke to both of them. Gotta
Double res.
it'll up my chances.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yo, I lost my phone number. Can I have yours? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And they laughed it off, and then they were like, oh, and then they gave me the phone number. So it went well at first. And then my friends were teasing me you just copped a 24-year-old. Your pole game is really good.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even want. I only did it for the
joke,
thrill of
yeah.
it. Yeah, I don't actually want to. Imagine just dating a big 24-year-old, and she's big
6
and
years
stuff.
older, yeah.
And I'm so small.
Dude, you're a tall guy. How tall are you?
I'm 185 centimeters, or 6'1".
Okay.
Exactly.
Because you guys American,
Yeah. Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just kind of awkward. I was like, "Yeah, what's your Instagram?" And she gave me her Instagram, and I tried to find how old she was to actually confirm that she was 24, but she never answered me. Oh yeah, I did ask her age, which I now realize is not really. It doesn't really work. Certainly
really
on
work to
Instagram.
res up.
Yeah, but that's about it.
Well, what about the 12-year-olds?
The 12. Okay, apparently. So I wanted to, because good young people these days, they act like us because they want to be cool like us. I'm cool.
Yeah, you're
kids
cool.
are looking up to me. They're
Yeah.
oh, I want to be cool too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the difference in the age is. I was at oh yeah, one time I went, we were in a group around the Dollarama, and there was a group of girls, and I was like, yo, guys, this is the perfect chance. Because if there's 10 girls, you could
Get all of them.
yeah, or if one says no, you could go anybody else. Yeah. So I went up to them, and then before I even asked one of them out, her friend goes just so you know, we're all 12 and 13 years old. And it was so shameful, because I was like, yo, even
No.
and then I walked away. It was so shameful. And apparently there was a guy in the friend group that was like, nah, you shouldn't, Ralph. You shouldn't.
Ralph, yeah.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, Ralph
I was
was
screw
no.
it. You only YOLO. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Mhm.
And apparently, when we were walking out of the mall, one of his girls like, "Oh, this guy's like pedo or something, like creepy guy." And I was like,
This
"I
guy's like
didn't know,
pedo.
okay, guys. I didn't know she was 12 years old." Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I guess I'll go with my story time. Is there anything else from your week that anything interesting happened?
uh, anything?
Well, you were at youth group today.
I was a youth group.
Yeah. So you're a youth group leader as well, right?
I am a
Oh,
leader.
that's
I
lit.
just started out, so
Mhm.
I'm like leading these kids. They're like grade 6, 7,
Mhm.
but they're actually like really fun, and they're
They're not like dumbasses. They're like good people.
in a good way.
Oh, in a good way, dumbasses.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Nice,
in a good
nice.
way. It's good because you
Mhm.
know, like as you get older, you're like less. You show less of yourself. But like kids will go
Yeah.
like, "Oh, my dad actually like do the craziest stuff." Like my dad actually stole drugs or something like that, without even being scared.
Mhm.
Like of course, this never happened to me. A kid never did that,
Yeah.
said that, but like.
That's the type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they knew that, they would probably like
I see what you mean.
proudly say that to me.
Yeah, I get you. So yeah, you're. How did you get into being like a youth group leader?
I started off at like kids camps. If you guys know that it's a camp off like the north coast of Canada, and it's a pretty small island, but it's a Christian camp. So I went to this camp when I was younger just because, and then I came back like 2 years ago because I was like, okay, I've a boring summer. It's so bad. I just want to do something with my summer. I don't want to stay home. I hate it. And so I went to the camps as a kitchen worker, actually, like a dishwasher and stuff. And I was like, I'm having way too much fun. I should like. And then next year, I went for, well, which was actually the previous summer. I went for kids camps as a leader. I didn't actually know what I was getting into because they don't describe it 100%. Like they say, okay, you're gonna be with kids, but like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sleep with their cabin? Are you gonna like lead their games? Are you gonna eat with them? And so I led kids, and it was great, honestly. Like, even though I paid to be there, I was like, that was probably the best time of my year. And so then I was like, actually, I should, like, volunteer for the church because, I've got this potential.
Did you just like automatically get into? You just signed up for a leader at youth?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. They were like,
Easy.
after the church service, they're like, oh, we need volunteers.
Oh.
Stuff like that.
Okay. We'll ask you more questions. I don't want to get too into Q&A right now. Is there anything else from your week? Anything you did this week? interesting?
Not especially something that I found out. Like, I had a math test. Of course, I nailed it. That's just me.
Yeah. All right. Well, this week, I got a crazy story time. I guess I'll just let it go. So, all right. So football practicing every day of the week. I had soccer practice, and today was the craziest of all days. So we're practicing. Okay, I'll give you a lot of context here. So this is where the story really gets interesting. So basically, I had practice today after school for football, and we're on the field, and the principal comes out and starts like, "Hey, wait, stop!" Goes up to our coach and says, "There's a bear in the woods somewhere, and it's really close to the school right now." And so we're like, "Oh, what the hell?" So they lock the field off, and then they start to like try and find it so they could like kind of shoo it off. And someone notices it in the parking lot, so it goes from the parking lot all the way to the other side of the school. And the principals and my coach, they're trying to like shoo it off, get it away, and it's a black bear. And we're like, "Oh my god." At first, when we didn't see the bear, our coach was like, "Focus. This is a good test for us. Like, stay focused on what you're supposed to do." And then when the bear came out, he's like, everyone just, So he went and he was like blowing his whistle, trying to get the bear to like leave. And then they were telling people like coming like towards the bear, like they were walking their dogs and stuff, like, "No, like go back, like there's a bear." And they're like, "Oh, okay, go like the other way." And then they're just like shooing it off. And then I don't know, it just went away. But everyone like was just like watching it, and it was like, oh my god, this is so funny. And then after practice, the team watched the movie. So it was like we got together, and we had pizza, and we just watched the movie just for something to do. And because we didn't have a game, so we just did that instead. And then we watched the movie Anchorman. Have you guys seen it or heard of it with Will Ferrell?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like the movie. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't think it was that great. Kind of misogynistic for the most part. But yeah, it wasn't bad. But want to watch it again, and it was so funny. Holy crap! This is the second funniest thing I've experienced this year. Number one is Cheyenne breaking the glass. I'm sorry, that was the funniest thing. This is a close second. So basically, we're watching the movie, and the movie's quiet. So everyone's like in their chairs, like just watching the movie, and then they're like, everyone's saying it's quiet, and coach was saying it's quiet. So he's like, "Do you want me to get like my boombox speaker that we use for practice?" Like you saw like the music thing. I don't know if you saw it, but it's like we play music at practice. So he's like, "I'll bring it out. Do you want me to bring it out? Would that be better?" So he's like, "Yeah, sure." So he brought it out. He was rolling. It's got wheels. So he went out, and I guess one of the guys on the team had a Pocky Picky. I don't know how to say it. I think it's Pocky one chip challenge.
Oh yeah.
The 2022 version, aka the Blue Demon, and he was like, everyone was trying to find like someone to have it. They're like, "Oh, are you gonna have it?" And then they're like, "Oh no," and all that. And I've seen people have the last one and this one. People like get so sick. People throw up, puke. Some people, their throats like close or something, and like
they can't breathe.
I saw like a bunch of YouTubers do it. FaZe Rug said it's really bad. I saw this other guy said he's not exaggerating. It's the worst pain he's ever been through. And he's like, it doesn't go away, like, no matter what. He's like, it's so funny to watch at the same time, so, like, sympathetic. He puts ice cream in his mouth, and he, like, every time he opens his mouth, it's like, boom, it's back. It lasts, like, he said it lasts half a second. And then he just keeps on putting it back in. And then, don't clip that. But, anyway, so, yeah, I've seen all these people, like, get really, like, sick from it. So I'm like, no, I'm not fucking trying that. So, by the way, coach is out. Like, he's getting the speaker. And it's all happening within this time. And then this one guy, a lot of nicknames. I'm not going to say his real name, but people call him Fat Ass. People call him Suey because he got a haircut. I know he's probably going to be watching this because he's my friend. I wouldn't be saying this if this wasn't the case. But he got a haircut like R9, like Ronaldinho. You know what I'm talking about. Like, he got that haircut. And so he like did a breakdown for us after practice, like Suey on 3. And so people call him Suey. People call him Fat Ass because he was at the BC Lions game with us as a team, and he literally like he's not fat, but he's chubby. So he takes like everyone's food, like he's grabbing people's shit, like, and people are getting mad because he's just eating. Oh my! He's like, I'm not even full. He had like most food there. Anyway, so yeah, he has different nicknames. So anyway, somebody was like, oh, give it to Suey. Because it's like, oh, he'll eat it, right? Yeah. And so someone was like, where is he? And I was like, oh, he's on the other side of the room. So then they're like, Suey. Everyone was like, Suey, come here. He's like, oh, food? Okay. So he like, he runs over. And then they're like, yo, eat it. So and then he's like, it's not that bad. So he eats the whole thing. He puts like his whole mouth, his hand in his mouth and eats the whole thing. And then everyone's freaking out, and it's so crazy. Everyone's laughing, freaking out, and the coach isn't here, and the movie's still going on, and everyone's like freaking out, and we're in our school like watching this, and then he eats the whole thing, and like he's like biting it, and then like 2 seconds, and he's like, and he like spits a little bit of it out, and sprints to the water fountain in the school, and he starts, and as everyone follows him as he's sprinting, so our coach comes in, sees everyone sprinting after him, and he's like, what just happened? What did he do? And then someone was like, he ate the chip. And he's like, what do you mean ate the chip? And they're like, he ate the chip. So and then he's like, hey, everybody back to your seats now. And he's like, what happened? And they told him what happened. And he's like, okay, get out of here. He's like, go use the fountain. Like, there's a fountain down the hall. Go. And he's like, like he's got like all the blue on his shirt. And he's like spitting. And he's like, oh, he was like making out with the water fountain. Like he had his whole mouth wrapped around it. And so then he left, and he's like using the water fountain, and he had like, our coach wasn't mad, but he's like, guys, don't peer pressure our teammates. Like this could like be bad. He's like, I'm not gonna name any names, but like there's a team that had a video online and a kid got peer pressured to do something and he's not playing this season anymore. So I'll just keep it at that. Like you guys, we have a game tomorrow. Like don't do this to our teammates. Even though he's on our team, he's on the JV team, but they're like, don't do this to him. Like this could be bad. Like we shouldn't be peer pressuring him if he doesn't want to do something. But we explained to the coach that he did it. We didn't really say much for him to do it. And so he's like, okay, but after so he was gone for like a few like 15 20 minutes and he's like, dude, it would not go away for like 10 minutes straight. I was just on the water fountain. And imagine someone walking by like a janitor.
He's like,
Yeah, so it was so funny. I'll show you guys the video after we're done here, but so freaking funny. And then another guy had it, like a little piece of it, and because it like broke off, and so he's like, oh, I'll just have that. And he only had it on one side of his mouth, and he's like, after it was done being spicy, he's like, it still burns like the side of my mouth.
Jeez.
But the guy that ate the whole thing, he's like, it tasted disgusting, like it didn't taste good. And I was like, yeah, because the whole thing is just spice.
Yeah,
like,
there's no like flavor to it.
Yeah, he's like, it tasted so weird and bad, and then he's like, yeah, it was horrible. And then we continued to watch the movie, and some people like after practice they like drove to 7-Eleven and got something, and then they came back, and then the coach was like, Christ almighty, like you got like a fucking like crap ton of food from 7-Eleven. And then we're watching and then the movie ends, and then he's just like, he kind of goes like a closing statement. He's like, yeah, I mean it's thank you guys, and he's just saying like it's nice to get together as a program, like with it not being practice, like as a change. And so he's like, yeah, so we also thank you. And then we went our separate ways, I guess. We just left the building. And then before we left, like the guy that had the chip, he was asking like, what did you like have? And he's like, oh, it's the spiciest chip in the world or something like that. And he's like, well, who made it? And he's like, no one made it, like it's a company. And like he's explaining what happened. He's like, oh my god. And then I think somebody threw up. I don't know if it was the guy that had like a little piece of it or something. Somebody threw up, and they threw up into like a bottle. And our coach is at the back of the room and sees that, and he's like going like this and like laughing, and like he's like, oh my god. And he was like, I was so concerned. He's like, I was about to kick out all the grade 9s just to like deal with them like outside. And he's like, I was kind of concerned because he's like in pain, right? Like he's like at the water fountain, and he was like, somebody give me their drink. Some guy's like drinking soda. He just snatches it and just drinks the whole thing. So he's like, somebody help me. And that was so funny. So that happened today. First time I seen a bear since I don't even remember. But yeah, that was my week. Really, really funny. I love being on the football team. It's a big sacrifice having practice every day pretty much of the week.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because it's like we're so close, and like, well, not so close, but like we consider each other as like family. And it's just it's really worth it because we learn like life lessons as well, like through the program. Like he gives us like life lessons and all that stuff. So it's like I really enjoy it. So I'm really happy. But yeah, it's definitely a grind. It really is. And I've gotten so much better. I remember I saw myself like last year playing football for the first time in pads and all that. I sucked. But now I'm actually decent. Like I wouldn't say I'm good, but I'm not bad anymore. So it's it's cool to see myself. You practice every single day for 3 months on end, 4 months on end. It really does make an impact. So anyone that's trying to get good at something, that's kind of my advice to you. Just go at it ham, really, and then look what happens, right? So yeah, that's my story time. I guess I'll hand it to Justin. That was a long one.
Yeah. So yeah, this week was Thanksgiving, so we had Monday off school. So I had Thanksgiving dinner on the weekend. So on Sunday, got together with some family. And yeah, it was pretty nice. I haven't seen some of them in like quite a long time. One of my cousins is like a professional ballet dancer, and she was staying in where was she? She was in like Europe. She was like going around Europe and doing ballet for all these shows.
France?
And I can't. It's by like Romania. How did I not remember?
Like
this? I don't know.
Lithuania or?
But no, not there. I forget where it was. It's somewhere in Europe, and she goes and does all the ballet. So it's cool, like
Estonia.
catching up with a lot of the family, because a lot obviously everyone's like really busy with stuff and like yeah, it's nice to catch up with them. We haven't seen them in quite a bit, so yeah, it's cool. And then on so the next thing on Wednesday went to this little like ramen shop. It was like my first time going there. Me and my sister and my mom went there. It was pretty good. I got like this chicken. It's like the original ramen with like the chicken karage on top. It was so good, bro. It was like really
Have you
good.
had it?
It's such a good
I
like.
make it.
You make it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into that in
Yeah,
Q&A.
Q&A, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, that shop, it's like a little Japanese shop, and it's like so good. Like it was like I don't know, really good ramen. We still got like so much. They have like such big portions too. It's like really good.
Where was the shop?
It's in West Van. It's by like I don't even know what street it is, but yeah, somewhere in West Van, and it's like brand new. So that's
Is this comfy, dude?
really cool.
Nice.
Alright. Next thing, yeah, I just had like soccer this week. Okay, so on Tuesday I went to play soccer with some friends, and then I skateboarded to the field like after school, and then I just like I was doing like shooting and just like I don't know, just playing for a bit, and I had a practice after the after just like when I was just playing like for fun, so obviously like I just stayed out because my practice was like I'd played for so long that my practice was like starting and they're like super close. It's like a field over. So I just skateboarded to the practice, and then like I'm only realizing now because whenever the podcast goes, I always like skate to the podcast because I live pretty close to Colin. But I was just like, yo, where's my skateboard? Like I was just like, damn, like where'd I leave it? I don't know. So I just remembered that when I skated to the soccer practice, I left it at the field in the like bleachers.
How'd you forget that?
I know, 'cause it was behind the
Why'd you leave it there?
the
though?
bleachers there. There's like not the bleachers, but like the little like
The cage.
the cage.
Mhm.
There's like a seat behind it, and so
Okay.
I put it on the seat behind it 'cause like people have their bags out on the like bench kind of
Mhm.
thing. So I ended up leaving it there, and I just realized that now. So that sucks. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Go back and see if it's still there.
Yeah, I could check. I'll probably check after the podcast 'cause we're pretty close to it. But there's no way there's there. I don't think it's there. But I might as well check. Then I also had an entrepreneurship test that I missed 'cause I had like what is it? I had like orthodontist. So I had to go catch up and rewrite or not rewrite, but just go write this test at lunch. It was like pretty good. Like it was. I hate like writing tests. Like so the day that I was supposed to write it was like Tuesday, but because I had the orthodontist, I had to wait till like next Tuesday to write it.
I don't like doing that either.
Because we had like this retreat, and then our school had like a bit like BC Catholics and all like the soccer games, and like so I had to write it like a week later. And like when you're doing that like for tests, it does not help because like you think, oh, I get this extra studying, but like if you study like the actual day before, which
You're
I
getting
did,
it over with.
yeah, you get it over with and like it's fresh in
Yeah.
your brain kind of thing.
Mhm.
So when I was writing this test, like it was not fresh in my brain, if like that makes sense. But yeah, I don't think I don't get back yet, but hopefully I did all right on it. I know I messed up a couple things, but it is what it is. And then today, we have this at our school. We have like a sister school, like with Japanese sister school, and basically, a whole bunch of their students from Japan come over to Canada, and they come to our school for like I think like a week or
cool.
so,
That's pretty
um,
fun.
and they
You
come
guys-
visit.
You guys go to Japan?
No, I wish we
Uh.
did, but no, they come here and we give them a tour of the school. We take them to their classes, and you can get like paired up with them, and you can go like tour them around the school.
Mhm.
And in my like third block, we went up to them, and they were kind of like an exhibition of like their culture. So they showed us like some of the games they'd play. They showed us it was just like a bunch of games, and like we went and like talked with some of them, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's cool meeting those guys and like talking to them.
How was the English?
It's surprisingly pretty good. Like some of them had like really good English, like where you can understand them, like you can fully understand them. Like they have accents, but like they're really good. And others like the accent was so thick, like you could tell, like you could make out some words, but because their accents are super thick, and like just the different like enunciations,
Yeah.
like compared to English and Japanese, obviously there's different like breaks and like
Mm-hmm.
enunciation. So some of it was hard to tell, but you could make out a couple words here and there. But yeah, like generally, like overall, they had some pretty good English. Like if I was to speak Japanese, I'd be like completely like, I no way I could do it. But them, I mean, pretty
They
good
don't
for
know, yeah.
a second language.
Mhm.
And then the last thing today before the podcast, I had a school soccer game, which we ended up winning 3-0. So yeah, it was a pretty good game. The school we were versing is actually like a pretty good school. They're supposed to be good. But we ended up getting the dub, and yeah, overall it was a pretty good game. So yeah, that's all of our story times. So yeah.
All right, I guess we'll go into Q&A with Gabriel. I'm excited for this. So we're talking about languages. I'll ask this question. How many languages do you speak?
Well, there's like different levels to learning a language.
Mhm.
Like for example, I can speak French and English to a level that I can understand anything and I
Mhm.
can speak with anyone and I can understand what they're saying, like local
So
expressions as well.
you're what is it called?
Bilingual.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And as well, I can understand like some basic Mandarin Chinese as well. So
And you speak Chinese as well? A
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit? Yeah. Okay.
I can speak like almost fluently, and like I've been trying to learn also Hungarian as well,
Ooh, okay.
but
Interesting
it's
choice.
yeah, but it's not easy, you know.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
quit because it's
The
really
Hungarian?
boring. Both.
Oh, okay. But so you learned Chinese Mandarin for a project. What made you want to learn Chinese, and how long and how much were you studying? Um, what are you doing, Cheyenne? Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So how long did it take you, and how often were you learning Chinese to get where you got to?
All right, so that's actually a good question. I'm glad you asked that. And so basically, when I started to learn Chinese, I was not in like the North Vancouver area, because in every area, like in the Vancouver area, and then there's the Surrey area, there's the North Van area. So every different area has different
Ways of
majority.
teaching, or you mean culture?
Yeah,
Yeah,
different
yeah.
cultures. For
Mhm.
example, I'm not sure which one is which, but I think if you go to Coquitlam, there's a lot of like Asian or Korean people. I don't remember which is where,
Mhm.
but every
Yeah,
different like section of BC has
yeah.
like different
Mhm.
nationality majority.
Yeah.
So I'm just moved to North Van like about a year ago. But I used to live in Burnaby, like before, and so at that time it was actually like I was choosing my languages course, so there was like Spanish, French, Mandarin, Chinese, and I was like, okay, what do I want to do? Like, do I want to take Spanish? I feel like Spanish is useless. In Burnaby, I haven't seen like literally no Spanish people there,
Mhm.
and it seems like such a small country on the map. So my mom was like, she was actually learning Mandarin Chinese. She started to learn, and she was like, "Yo, Gabe, why don't you try Mandarin? Like it's such a useful language. Like the country's huge. Like China, like almost all of China, its official language is Mandarin."
Mhm.
Yeah, so like I was saying, every province in China, like they all have to speak Mandarin because
Mhm.
like it's the official language of China, although they have
That's
their
what
own
like the
language.
government wants you to speak, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I'll also in Burnaby where I used to live, there were a lot of like Chinese people, so they spoke a lot of Chinese, and I was like, okay, I didn't know we were gonna move, so I was like, all right, how about I learn Chinese, and so when I actually need it, like let's say I work in a like Chinese restaurant,
Mhm.
like they could be speaking Chinese
Yeah.
and I could secretly know Mandarin
Ooh,
Chinese.
that'd be
They
funny.
could talk behind my back and I could hear
Oh.
everything that they were saying. That
Chonima.
was such a huh?
Chonima.
20 ma?
Yeah, 20 ma.
Right. Oh yeah, that word, yeah, 20. Yeah. And then I could surprise him, or I could use this to my advantage. I
Mhm.
even had like dreams where I was like, oh, I'm stuck in China. Oh, I actually know Mandarin, so I'm gonna
You've
survive
had
this,
dreams like
guys.
that?
Like I've had like imagination, like
Oh,
daydreams.
daydreams.
You know,
Okay,
like
okay,
oh,
okay.
this is gonna be great.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I took the class, and then like midway through the class, I realized, hold on, like this class is gonna end. I don't want to pay for more classes because I don't want to pay. Like I like money. I want to keep it. So I don't want to pay for these classes. I'd rather spend it on something else. So I'm gonna independently learn Chinese,
Oh, yeah.
which went surprisingly well. Like for about a year, I even set goals like for the new year's. Like next
Nice.
year, I'm gonna have a fluency of like. There's this standards for Chinese. It's like 汉语水平考试, which means like there's this standard. Oh, this level you can speak fluently. This
Oh,
level
okay.
even more. So I wanted to like achieve even more and more, but like at the same time, like during the summer, last summer, I was like learning. All I did was I stayed home. I tried to force myself to learn, like spent 2 hours a day trying to learn Mandarin Chinese.
That's a grind, damn.
And it's really productive. Like it now, sometimes I still feel guilty like about not being able to.
Like using your time better, or
Yeah, like because I've learned so much, I've gone so far. I just want to keep on going
Mhm.
and not forget the language. But the reason that I quit is because every day I would stay in front of a computer screen for like 2.5 hours and just try to learn, which was really like mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
And also
Mhm.
when you do that stuff, like for example, I can't even enjoy like going out with my family because I'm like, oh, I could be learning Chinese right now. Like I need to focus on this.
Yeah.
And I wasn't happy,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
So I just
That's
had
the most important thing.
it truly is. Like I
Mhm.
could be like in a really bad job and stuff like that. As long as I'm happy, I could go on forever. And religion is also very important for me as well. So that yeah. So I just had like a voice in my head, like a gut feeling, like, you should stop this. Like you should start enjoying life.
Mhm.
So like I think that was maybe last spring.
Okay.
And so since then, like I've actually starting to like do stuff that normal people do, you know, like going out. Like I've been volunteering for the camp,
Yeah.
and like I've been feeling way better.
Instead of
Like
speaking Chinese every day.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now I moved into North Van. There's like I feel like the majority of like immigrants is definitely not Chinese. Like I barely see any Chinese people. Like there's a lot of Persian people. Like Cheyenne, are you Persian, right? Yeah. And there's like a lot of them. So, you know, it's interesting to see all those cultures.
Yeah.
And at the time I was learning Chinese, but I moved to a place where Chinese isn't useful for me anymore.
Mhm.
It's just a source of boredom and unhappiness, which is why I stopped learning Chinese. But I can still like speak it kind of fluently, which I guess is good.
That's
But
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you regret your decision of how much time and effort you spent into it?
in a way, I kind of it's like I guess I do, cause I do and I don't, you know,
Mhm.
cause
Because it's so good of that,
Yeah.
ability to do that,
mhm.
but you just wish that you didn't go down that path to get where you are.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah, because I feel like I missed out. You know, I should
Yeah.
be like young. I'm at the state where I should be like enjoying outside.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm doing that now, but like, uh, but like I should have been doing that earlier, which is okay. But it's just I feel like I missed out. You know, the high school years
I
are
get
the
it.
most fun years.
Mhm.
I love high school. I love school. So like, you
Nice.
know,
Not many can say that.
not many can say that. Yeah. So. Like, but the positive take back that I can take from this is that like now I know a lot more about China that I did before. Like, I wouldn't know this much. Like, I thought China was like this cool country with the cool technology, but in reality, like, some parts of it are like the government's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
strong, really strict, and
Yeah.
some parts of it are like socialism. Yeah, and then they try to, and then there's like the whole no freedom and
Yeah.
so much school there. So life isn't that good there. So I won't be moving into China anytime
Or
soon.
going to visit? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Japan. Oh,
I'd love to go.
I'd love to try. I mean, if you guys don't know, I work in a Japanese restaurant. So it's really good. Like when you mentioned karaage. So I actually deep fry this stuff. It's so good. Like one of the best feelings ever is when I make too much, a little too much, and my boss is like, "Okay, you can eat that piece." So good, guys. It's literally like Japanese food is like they're upping their game.
Damn.
And then the thing is, in my Japanese restaurant, and I've heard this is very common, my boss is Korean.
Interesting.
He can speak a little Japanese, but he's Korean, so I get to eat Korean food as well,
Oh,
which is even better. Like,
really?
I don't know, I guess it would be like slightly better, in my opinion, because I've tried so much of it, and it's like really well seasoned. Like, for example, here, like we maybe, I don't know much national food in Canada.
Poutine.
Yeah.
Poutine, yeah. That's pretty much it. That's all. That's
Ketchup
all
chips.
I can say.
Yeah.
Huh?
Ketchup chips.
Yeah, maple syrup, beaver's tails. I've heard of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, Japanese food. Yeah, no.
Moose
Japanese.
ass, is that what you said? What the hell?
Yeah, extra flavor. Cause
Crunchy.
crunch and like pate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They- Wow. Yeah, I gotta try that one day.
All right.
And yeah.
Okay, so okay, that's pretty sick. Okay, we'll go into that more in a second, but yeah, we'll go into food, I guess. But one last thing to end off the Chinese segment. Can you say please subscribe to the podcast boys in Chinese?
I don't know how to say subscribe.
Just say do you know how to say follow?
No.
Do you know how to say
I
like?
can say the podcast boys are very good.
Okay,
Very
say it.
good. The podcast wait, hold on. I gotta think of it.
name, just say it in English.
The podcast boys 有很多的那怎么说呢the podcast boy 很好的，我很喜欢他们，因为他们很crap. No, I'm trying to make sentences, but I guess I forgot too much. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I guess we'll leave it at that then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, going into food now. So you make a lot of food,
Yeah.
and this is another thing I love about you. I saw your Instagram.
Yeah.
You finally let me follow you on Instagram. You've accepted it, and I can see the food that you make. I saw the posts. Oh my god,
I know.
dude, you've made some bangers. So
Thank
tell
you.
us about that. How do you make stuff? How do you decide to make stuff? Tell us about your food and what you do with your food.
So, my specialty is sourdough bread.
Yep, known for it.
It's so good. Like, I know everything, all of the science on sourdough. I know how to make every step of it. It's a big, long process that I think I know. And the best part of it is, like, as a cook, I can cook whatever I want. If I want tasty food, if I want comfort food, I can make that for really cheap. Because I know where
You know the
to
ins
get.
and outs.
Yeah, I know where to get cheap ingredients. Like, for example, sometimes I would go, like, some stores have this thing called $1 bags where they put, like, old fruit and old vegetables in a bag and sell it for $1 with a great value. And right now I'm trying to like bulk because I'm working out a lot.
Nice.
So I get to eat like my own food for like really cheap because I eat so much. And so
That's hype.
it's really an
You got
advantage.
an advantage. Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah.
Mhm. Like, I think cooking is just entertaining for the thrill of it. Like,
Mhm.
for example, in the restaurants, what I've done at home too, but it's like apparently you shouldn't do it at home because it's dangerous. But I was also home alone, so
Oh God, what happened,
Yeah,
Gabriel?
so in like I think it's an Asian concept. Like when you heat up the wok really hot so that the oil is smoking, and then you put like food into it, and then you start like stir frying it really hard. There's that effect that gives the food flavor. I would say like a smoky flavor.
Because
When
you
it
got smoke coming from it. Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
the oil is so hot, it shimmers and it smokes, and then you put the food in it, and it like pops all over the place.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know, I guess like that's what oil
Yeah.
does.
Mm-hmm.
And then you stir it around. You use the wok to like make sure it doesn't burn, so it cooks on all sides.
Mhm.
And so like, it's so fun. It's so scary. Like it's like 7 seconds of absolute like terror. But it's so fun and it tastes so good too. Like just being able to cook stuff is like this ability. Like if I want to eat like this, I can cook it. Like because I think I picked this up when I was really young. We like what, because if you guys don't know, like I'm from France, so I'm an immigrant, And when you're immigrant, you're like, so this is like your current country. This is the country that you want to go to, and then you got to build up to it, And then when you're in the country, you also have to build up your riches. For example, at first you start with like a old crib, like an old apartment and stuff. You try to get degrees, you try to, even if you have like degrees in your old country, sometimes you have to get like new degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So like we needed to save money at that time because we were like building up. So like cooking food yourself is a big part of it, because if you save, let's say, $5 to $10 on each meal, 3 meals a day, like
It's a lot.
yeah, and then you count those days, like how many days you have in a month,
Mm-hmm.
in a year.
Your paycheck and how much that adds up, all that stuff.
Yeah, it does. And just like, I guess trying to live like a cheap life, and like living off of cheap foods that are actually good, like tasty as well, has become like such an obsession. Like for example, now I can make really cheap foods, and I'm really grateful for that. Like because I'm able to make cheap foods, like I don't have to pay, I don't have to give up my money. Like a loaf of bread could be like $7 at the bakery if it's good sourdough. At home it could be 50 cents. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
All it costs is time.
I get you. Yeah, I know. You mentioned about being grateful. Like this Thanksgiving, like this past, like I realized that last Thanksgiving and this Thanksgiving are different because this year I have, well, within that 12 months, I have spent more days being grateful and more thankful. I don't need one day to take that day to always be thankful. I'm always trying to find ways to be thankful. Like I was sick last week, like you guys saw the episode, and I missed my football game. I missed my sleepover, and somebody was saying to me like, "Oh, I feel so bad for you. That must suck." I'm like, "Well, I mean, obviously it sucks, but I'm not sad really, because it's like I'm should be grateful and thankful that I'm this sick, right? Some kids are so much more sick, like with cancer, or kids in Africa having diseases, like who, I'm so like grateful for this, so it's like I don't need one day to be thankful. So I don't know, that's kind of just, I thought of that. So yeah, and you're talking about food as well. Like I'm always grateful for food. Like a lot of kids don't have enough food that they need.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm religious, so I gotta thank God all the time.
So I want to go into religion now. So you are
Christian.
Okay.
Protestant.
Protestant.
Christian.
Okay. So what how have you been, or okay, so how did you become Christian? What do you do as a Christian, and what do you like about being Christian? Let's say that.
All right, that's also really good questions. You're good at this, huh? So, I was basically born in a Christian family. Like, God has just been a miracle in my family, like throughout generations. So, my parents were actually really good at transferring that to me.
Okay. That's
Like
good.
they taught me like how to follow God,
Mhm.
how to live a good life, how to be
Mhm.
happy, you know?
Yeah.
Like for example, I was just born into it, but wait, what was the second question
It was
again?
like, what do you like being like as a Christian? What do you like
Oh,
doing, and
mhm.
what do you, do you remember what I said? Like, what do you do
I
as a
remember
Christian?
now.
Or, okay.
So as a Christian, like for example, how I became Christian is basically just
Your
my
family.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Raised as.
Also, like there are a lot of miracles in my life that happened because that were not supposed to happen. Like being, for example, even like being in Canada is a miracle for us because like immigrating from one country to Canada is like very hard
I can
and
imagine.
yeah, so just being able to be here in a better environment where there's people are friendlier and it's just safer as a country. And I mean, even though the food's kind of mid, but I can make my own food, so
Yeah.
it's
There you
fine.
go.
Everything else, I think, is just a better quality of life education. So it's like God has done this for me. Like I should definitely invest in God. It's also like, uh, is just what I like about being a Christian is that like for example, if I have troubles, if I have like problems,
You turn to God.
there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
I relate. Yeah.
hold on. I'm talking.
Yeah.
And so like yeah, I can there's a relief like when you have troubles, like some people they rely on themselves. Like you have to rely because who else is going to help you like
Yeah. Like it's your own life. Like yeah.
like for example, like you have to get out of this yourself and it's humanly speaking
Mhm.
impossible. And your life's not a movie. Like you're not going to do the like 1% chance of like getting out. But like God, when you're with God, it's like way better because you have a hope. You can just lay back and let God do it all for you, you
I
know?
get. Yeah.
Lay it on God and just let him like God, I trust in you and he
Yeah.
wants you to do that too.
Yeah.
So it's so beneficial like
Mhm.
I can enjoy my life
And
like
just lay. It's like a safety net.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There you go.
And I can just because you always have troubles in life, you know?
Everyone does.
Like yeah, everyone does like emotionally, mentally, physically.
Everything.
Yeah, and it hits on your nerves. Like, how
Mhm.
can you become happy? But it's just for me. It's like, oh, God's doing this for me, like
For a reason.
for a reason, exactly. And it also gives me a purpose to live. Like, I feel for me personally, I feel like life is pretty like blank without God. Like, I'm not
Without like a moral value system.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also like being able to see God after death is like such a comfort because some people believe that like it's a void after death.
It's just
like
nothing.
just
Like
nothing.
like how you were never born before. It's just nothing.
Yeah, it's like eternal nothing. It's so
Yeah.
I don't like it. So it just gives me hope and it gives me happiness
Well,
and just
so I see. Let me see if I can get advice from you. So one of my fears, I don't have many, but one of my fears is death because I don't know what's after that. So I do believe in God and I do believe in like a higher power in general, and I do believe that there is a form of heaven. I don't know what that looks like. I don't think anyone does, but those TV shows of like found God, and it's like, oh, I went to heaven. It's like I wonder how real those are. I don't know, but yeah, I don't. At the end of the day, the unknown is what scares me. So do you have any advice on that, or any do you know anything about that, like in terms of that?
well, yeah, well, that's one of the reasons. To be honest with you, I had like this experience when I was young, where my brother scared the living crap out of me by saying like, "You do this, if you don't follow God, like you're going to hell. You're gonna burn for eternity." Like just letting that sink in, like eternal, like not even this life. Like, I can't even stand like
Infinity.
1 hour of heavy workout. It's
Yeah,
so
heavy workout.
hard.
Yeah.
But it's like eternal suffering. It's really scary. I mean, it's one of my greatest fears too as a Christian. Like, what if one day I like
What if you've been doing stuff wrong the
yeah,
whole time?
that's true. That's a
Shit.
really big fear.
Yeah.
And so for me, like now I just don't focus on it. So, but what I do is like, because I try to pray every night. So what I do is I ask God to like, if I do separate from Him, like, God, please
Go back on track.
Yeah, put me back on the track and like help me to stay close to you, cause like He's your comfort for this life. He's
Yeah.
also gonna be your comfort for like thinking about eternity. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what I find really comforting is that God, if you want to be with God and you genuinely like believe in Him and you genuinely like accept Jesus as your Savior, He's like, it's almost like a guarantee that He'll accept you into heaven. Like, all I have to do right now, like for example, all I have to do is dedicate like, for example, every morning I try to dedicate maybe 20 minutes to like reading the Bible and praying to God, and just being on that track. God sees what you're doing, and what He does is like.
So He sees that I masturbate. Shit, no. I'm joking.
I mean, he's not gonna
Ignore that part.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
I'll just turn away.
You won't look until you're 18.
Bro, what?
Okay. Yes.
Podcast is pedophile.
So he like, when you're spending time with him, he's like, oh,
He's there.
this guy's trying to like get close to me. I'm gonna help him get on the right track. Like for example, I wanted to know advice about stuff in my heart, and he actually helped me. Like he
Personally.
gave,
Mm-hmm.
like
Gave you
I
answers.
came across a sermon that answered my questions.
A sermon?
Yeah, it's
Okay, I know
like-
what that is, but like, describe it a bit more, because I only know a little bit.
So a sermon is basically like in a church service. You have, usually that's the structure of the church. You start with worship, where you sing songs about God. Like that's another way to spend time with God, is say like,
Mhm.
oh God, thank
He's
you
an
for.
awesome God, He prays.
Yeah,
from
that
heaven. You know that one?
I know that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're just like praying and praising God while listening to music. And then a pastor gives a sermon, which is basically he tries to tell us advice.
Oh.
Like for example, there's a sermon about.
So that's like when a priest gives his what is that called? Oh
Isn't
God.
that like a homily?
Yeah, a homily. I have not been to church for a while, dude. Yeah, it's a homily. Okay, so it's the same sort of thing.
And so like he basically tells us how to do life, how to be happy,
Mhm.
and some things that we should be careful of.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, one sermon could be about, why do I feel like God is not answering me, or why do I feel like God is so far from me?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like God is ignoring me or being mean to me? And then they tell you advice on like stuff like that, and they also like, for example, like in my personal situation, like why is this happening? Why is God not doing something about this?
Yeah.
And then it just encourages us and tells us, hold on, you're misunderstanding this. God still loves you. God still wants to be part of you. But sometimes you have to go through like periods of suffering and trial. Like it's not gonna, like being a Christian is not gonna guarantee that you're gonna live the perfect life. Like
yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
like like I'm definitely not like living the perfect life, but you know, being Christian does give comfort in the
Mhm.
same time. And also sermons are like, tells us how to be happy and how to
Yeah.
be close to God.
So you've had your answers from your prayers through sermons.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice.
And so it's sometimes sermons don't like, I have further questions, so I go out to
Yeah.
the pastor
Mhm.
to ask him. Like for example, like sometimes I was hearing voices in my head. I didn't know who it was. So
Actually,
I'm serious. And so I
it's kind of scary.
Like it's not like I'm watching you or something like that, but sometimes it is scary. And I did have like times in my life where I heard a voice and I thought it was from God, but it wasn't, you know?
Or would you be comfortable diving into it, or should we not go there?
Hold on. Let me think about it. Like, I guess I could tell some details about it.
Yeah, up
like,
to you. Go to your
yeah.
comfort zone.
For example, I was in a camp, like, you know, in the camp everybody's talking about camp crushes,
Oh,
you know?
okay. All right.
So, it's like,
Been there. Well, not personally, but yeah, I've been in that situation where, yeah. Okay, you know what I mean. Go on.
so basically, like, there was this voice talking to me about, like, it was actually, like, telling me, like, you actually should go up to this girl and ask her out. And it just became stronger and stronger. And it was at a camp where I had a Christian leader. And so basically, like, we were having, like, a deep prayer time where we were, like, and the thing is, at camp is the experiences where you connect with God the most.
Mm-hmm.
So we were having this deep prayer time, and, like, and like this voice was telling me, like, yo, ask the girl out right now.
They
like,
said, like, demanding.
like demanding.
Oh,
Exactly.
shit. Like, yo, like, now.
Exactly. Like, it was literally pressure so hard. And so I had the reflex of talking to my leader, setting him aside, and he was like, I talked to him about it, and he said, okay, this is not from God. Like, this, if it's not from God, it's from the devil. Like, I know it sounds scary, but the devil can't do anything to you, you know? Like, physically, if you don't let him, he won't do anything to you. So basically, like, the reason why the devil was trying to, like, tell me to ask this girl out is because he wanted to disrupt
The lesson.
the prayer lesson when we were getting close to God. And also, this girl now, she's in my church, and I'm volunteering with her. Imagine if I would have asked her out then and there. Like, that could have gone horribly wrong.
Or it could have gone well.
Plot twist, Chris was into the girl, so he didn't want you.
Ah, yeah, the devil liked the girl.
What?
Priest, actually.
Oh, no, the camp
No.
leader, you mean?
But,
Like,
like,
scary. God.
it is.
Was it like, okay, so
We've
what
all seen the Family Guy jokes, okay?
what did it sound like? Was it actually like you heard someone's voice, or was it just you hearing stuff?
No, okay, so,
Morgan Freeman.
you know, like, it's not like you hear a voice. Like, it doesn't go through your ears.
But that's like a feeling you had.
A feeling,
Was
exactly.
like, oh, go, like, you know,
Like
go.
an urge almost.
like
yeah.
an urge.
Yeah,
to
an
go.
urge, exactly.
Oh,
Like,
okay. That makes a lot more, and that kind of relieves some scaring
yeah,
tension. I
yeah,
had.
it's definitely not gonna.
Speaking
Yeah.
yeah.
If the devil would speak, I would be crapping my.
I know, same.
Yeah.
What do we sound like? I don't know. Yeah, so that's really cool to hear that story, but I think that it's hard to put a label on me. So I'm not Christian. Okay, so I've been to camps that are Christian camps, and I believe in God, and I pray to God or whatever, right? But I haven't been to so I was raised Catholic. I was baptized. I've been confirmed, all that. And I had no problem with being Catholic until a lot of things came out to me in my life about how the Catholic Church has done a lot of bad things and how it's still a thing in less of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? In less of what it is, but there's a little bit of it today. So I don't like to say I'm Catholic because that reflects on who you are, right?
Yeah.
But in a way, I could argue and say, well, okay, I don't know if I'm not trying to be offensive here, but Muslim people, they get a lot of shade. 9/11, right?
Yeah.
But they're still proud Muslim because that doesn't define them. So I could
Yeah.
say the same thing about Catholic.
Yeah.
That's not me, and that doesn't.
Bishops or the priests.
However, that's what the religion is. That's what it actually is doing. So I'm conflicted, right? And I'm not gonna call myself a Christian because I don't go to services. I don't belong to a church, and I don't go to like. I've met pastors that like I'm not gonna say his name, but we've met a pastor That's really, really kind, such a cool guy. But things that I hear from Christians, some things I hear from Christians that I'm like, that is ridiculous, and stuff like that. So I can't say I'm Christian because I don't know. So you're Protestant,
I'm
and
Protestant.
then there's Anglican, and then what's the other ones? There's
I'm not sure. There's a lot of them because
Yeah.
like
Different branches and
Yeah.
different branches.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's Protestant, there's Anglican. So I don't know what I don't know part or what branch of Christian is saying what that I don't like. And I could do my research and I could get into that, but I haven't yet. But if I do that, that would be a good way of connecting to God, I think, more and defining on what I believe in and what group I'm in. I have no problem with being, like, I guess, independent, I guess you could say. But at the end of the day, like, I am Catholic, I guess you could say. But I'm also not, like, I haven't been to a mass in a while. I've taken the body of Christ. I've done all that. I've gone to confession. But some things with Catholic I also don't necessarily believe with, but not that much. But it's mainly, like, Christians. I hear stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I don't really have, like, a label, and that's kind of hard for me thinking about it. It's like, maybe I should, like,
You're spiritual.
Well, I won't say I'm spiritual, really. Like, I don't, like, I'm not a psychic or any of those things that are true. But yeah, I've had connections with God, and I've done the whole, I guess, I wouldn't say miracle, but I've had, I've had one camp leader told me that if you have the closer you are to God, the better connection you're gonna have. They're like, think of it as Wi-Fi. The closer you are to the router, the better signal you're gonna get. One way I look of it is this is kind of my own. I've never heard this. I've kind of made this up myself. Social media. I kind of compare social media to God because it's like God sees your posts, God sees your stories. That doesn't mean he's always going to reply to your stories and always going to comment and like your stories and all that stuff. I've never heard that.
Yeah,
that's kind of my
that's
own.
actually a good analogy. Like,
Yeah.
I agree with, like, a lot of your saying. Like, I was also, like, we went to Catholic school, me and Colin. I go to a Catholic school now, and it's, like, it's hard because, like, when you're a kid, like, I was obviously, like, baptized Catholic, and I've done all that stuff, been baptized, I've done, like, communion and all that, confession. But then, like, when you're kind of, like, thrown into the religion as, like, a kid and you can't really, like, determine for yourself, I find, like, sometimes it's hard. Like, I've had experiences, like, encountered, like, miracles and, like, have been, like, really close to God at times, and then I've kind of just, like, drifted away from him. And then it's kind of, like you said, there's different, like, branches and labels, and it's, like, you don't even really know what to, like, identify with.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, it's not that I don't believe in God, it's just that I think it's, like, very, like, convoluted, kind of, like...
You don't know the ins and outs, or, like, you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's, like...
So we relate on that.
Yeah. And it's, like, who do you kind of, like, trust? Who do you follow? Like, yeah. Yeah, my question is, like, what do you... Like, let's say in your religion, and you're just, like, following God. Like, what do you do when it gets hard? Like, when you don't know, or, like, if you have doubt, or just, like, you're lost kind of off your path. Like, how do you, like, reconnect with God? Or, like, what advice do you have for...
Recalibrate like a garment.
Yeah. Exactly. yeah, exactly.
Oh, so as a Christian too, I've had those moments where, like, I don't see God working. Like, for example, I've had times where life doesn't feel like worth living, you know? Like, I've had those moments too, those slight moments where I doubted God. And I don't know, I see what you mean. Like, Catholic, I've heard a lot about it, and I have relatives who have been, like, in a Catholic church, and, like, I think Catholic is very forceful. Like, some people are forced to say Hail Mary and all. Like, in my belief in Protestant, of course, like, we accept all kinds of people in our church.
Even the gays.
Yeah. Okay, like, if I see someone from the LGBTQ community, like...
Oh, you forgot the plus. and the two.
Plus two.
Yeah. There's a lot. I don't remember. But, like, from that community, I'm not going to, like, hate them and treat them like...
Because that's not God's word.
It is. It isn't.
Oh, I thought you were... It is.
Yeah, no. Like, also like the greatest rule that Jesus said is love yourself and love your neighbor.
Exactly.
So even if in our Christian culture, like being gay and all that isn't like what God purpose was. Well, I don't know a lot about that subject, but even sinners, like even if you're a sinner, our command is to love you
no matter what.
Yeah, and that kind of love is, I think in Greek it's called agape love.
Agape. We learned this in school. Yeah.
So basically, it's not the feeling, it's the action.
Yeah.
Like for
That
example,
proves that you actually love.
yes. For example, if
Actions are bigger than words. Or
actions are bigger than words. Words are also important.
yeah, they are.
Like for example, if somebody's going through something and he's not Christian, of course I'm gonna help him out. Like I also it's a like we're trying to be nice. Like if for example if one day I have a child and he doesn't want to be Christian, I'm not gonna the worst thing, one of the worst things that I could do is like force Christianity on it, because it's gonna make him like. Also, in a way, it's gonna reflect Christianity as bad. You know, if I force you into doing this, like for example, I understand what you mean. Like Catholic or Christian before they like invaded America, and it was like it wasn't like it's not what we're supposed to do. You know, like for example, not all Muslims commit like are related to 9/11, of course. And like not all Christians are into that. Like we're supposed to be like nice, and some people like take it too far. You know?
Like take it the wrong way or like
So the answer to your questions is like when you struggle. I'm not sure what happened for me. I did have struggles. What I kept on doing was I kept spending on time with the Lord, be like, okay, God, I really need you to figure this out for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay close to you because you're going to handle this situation. So whenever I have struggles, now I'm like, because of those struggles, I'm stronger and I believe more in God because He's like my comfort, you know?
Comfort blanket.
Yeah.
I've had that. So the Pope, he hasn't. So in the Catholic Church, as a priest, you're supposed to be the voice of the Pope, which is the voice of God. And he's never gone out and said, he actually specifically has said, like, we love everybody, like, we accept everybody, we love, like, he even said, like, we love people of LGBTQ. And I had a priest at a church once. He was giving his homily, and he took it to his opinion. So he was saying, we should not be supporting people that are gay. We should be telling them that it's bad and not reinforcing it. And the people I was with, I wasn't with my family. I was with my friend's family, and they were like, after the mass, they were upset. They were like, I wanted to walk out and all this and that. And that is another reason why I don't know if I want to identify as Catholic, because it still happens, right? It's still like bullshit. So it's like, it's hard to watch, and he's giving his own opinion in a homily, which everyone has the right to your opinion, but there's a time and a place, and that's not when you give your opinion in a homily. You're supposed to be spitting facts from God, not spitting your opinion. So
Yeah.
I
mean, I guess they get so sidetracked. Like, some people have like I know what, like, you know, some Christians are so like, for example, like I guess maybe it might be a mechanism that some people use. Like, for example, for Christian, like, let's say you're scared of, like, being, like, one day straying from the path of God. So you're trying not to be, like, drinking and doing stuff like that. And then I guess some people might try to separate from it so far that they start like, disliking it.
Yeah.
Disliking people who do it. Like, separating themselves from it, like doing that, and in a way, like, that's going too far, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely scared of straying from the path of God. That doesn't mean I'm going to treat other people
that do that
bad.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
I'm not gonna hang out with them 24/7.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to show them, like, hey, you're a human being. I respect and I love you. Agape love.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's dope. We don't have much time left, so what should we do, Justin?
Do you want to finish it off with copper drop. I have like
Yeah, I also have copper drop, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll take the photo. Check our Instagram out for the photo. You'll see us there
Yeah.
with Gabriel, and
Mhm.
yeah, okay, you can start. I gotta get my copper drop.
All right. So, for the first image here, first shoe, we got the Jordan 6 Cool Gray. So I think these are like they're set to release in 2023. So still like a long time till these release. I'm pretty sure this is just like reference or like what people think it's gonna look like. But here's the shoe here. Jordan 6. It's got like the icy sole, and then it's got like the white with the gray accents. And then it's got the lace lock there. I'd say cop, to be honest. I think they're pretty cool. They're like nice colors. I think they go with everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd say cop on these ones. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna say it's 50-50, but I'm gonna say more drop because I don't think it's I don't know, not that big on it.
I think to be honest, I would drop those. I think just the first of all, like I'm very athletic. I love running and doing like physical activities. I just don't think these shoes are
Would
like,
fit the
right.
job.
Yeah. And also they're like white shoes, so they stain easily.
Yeah.
Like if you get a drop of dirt on there, you have to wash it again, and I'm not good at
Yeah.
taking
Or
care
just
of
let
my
it get
shoes.
dirty and then it'll be dirty.
Yeah, you could do that too.
All right, I got mine. So this is Adidas. This is
You don't.
So these are the collab with Pharrell. Introducing
Pharrell
the-
Williams?
Yeah, the MD M
NDM.
yeah NM no
NMD,
S1, a hiking inspired boot delivered from Pharrell's love for the outdoors. So it's a hiking boot with their own spin on things. So I'll show you some more images here, and I think these are quite different. I have not really seen anything like these. Oh, he's got them on. Yeah. So what are we saying? Drop or cop?
To be honest, like at first, like when I saw like the images, I was like, oh, those are kind of like they're kind of weird. But then when you showed me like the picture of them like on feet, like I think they actually look pretty good. Like I think you can wear an outfit in them and they'll look good, as well as like the functionality part. Nice boot for the winter. Obviously, it's getting colder, the colder weather, like rain and shit. So I think I'd say cop, to be honest. They look pretty cool and I like the look of them.
What
Yeah.
are you saying, Gabriel?
Well, I'm not sure because I feel like these expensive shoes, like, they don't look expensive, you know? Like, these shoes, they look good. But if you were wearing those shoes, to be honest, I wouldn't really notice. I'd say they're also not waterproof, so it's like really rainy.
But it's an
and-
outdoors boot.
Yeah, is it waterproof? I don't know if it's waterproof. I'd like to cop it, but I feel like I need waterproof shoes right now, so I'll say drop that one as well.
I'm gonna say drop just because I feel like the neon colors don't go well with like that brown color or that like suede. But the shape of it and everything looks cool, and I like the brown. Like I like that color brown, but I just don't think the neon goes well with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's all of my copper drop.
All right, I got the last one here.
All right.
Oh wait, not that. Hold up.
Yeah, we don't
All
have
right.
time for the topics.
Yeah. Okay. The last one we got here is the Palace collab with Gucci, and they made. I just want to go over the racing jacket. So it's just this racing jacket, Palace collab with Gucci. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think it looks dope. What is that in the middle?
It's like the Gucci like tigers, I think, or like the.
Dude, I would cop that.
Cop, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd say.
That looks nice. And then smashing too. I've been trying to find a matching outfit. Well, I wanted
Yeah,
to,
the
but I've
pants
never
and
been
the-
trying to. But
Dude, that's probably over. Oh, that's
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
That's
shit.
expensive.
Whew,
I'd
man,
say
it looks good.
cop too. I like the jacket. I like the color. The leather looks like nice quality and it looks kind of like faded too, like kind of like worn
Yeah, I
in
getcha.
leather, which I like instead of like the like rigid and like really like tough leather. So I think that looks nice. So yeah, I'd say cop as well.
All right, well, we got to wrap it up. We've been over time. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are coming from YouTube, thank you, and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. If you're coming from Spotify, thank you. That's even better. And we have a rating now. I've noticed a few weeks ago we've had a rating. It's 4.5. So rate us on Spotify. Get that rating up to 5. And yeah, so thank you for listening, watching. Everything's in the description. We got our merch. We got our Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. So we'll see you in episode 126. Peace.